Today we are going to review a hip thrust. So one of my favorite glute exercises of all time. Thank you, Brett, for bringing this one up for us because we really appreciate it. I'm going to show you just how to do a general basic hip thrust. From there are many variations, but let's go over just setup and activation. Again, you should be familiar with good core alignment. If you are not, go back and review some of my core strength and activation videos. I also go over this in my programs. With a hip thrust, the most important thing is to find what you're gonna thrust on. These glute benches are one of my favorite. They're super versatile. You can take them in the house, out of the house. It's an easy setup. Great quality product. Again, Brett, we love you for this. But if you're not looking to invest in something, I tell my clients to get like an ottoman, the couch. Like you have to have a low couch. You can't have a really high couch. Something that is like a flatter surface. I even had clients be like, I just use like a chest at my house, or like some type of chair that works. If you have like a chair or a chest or something that's firm, you're gonna need to like lay a yoga mat over it. Don't use a blanket, those slip. Also, if you're using a chair, an ottoman, or something like a couch that's furniture, make sure that it is firmly secured because you're gonna be leaning up against this. When I use my thing, like it's not gonna just work on the carpet. That's why I have my yoga mat here, it holds it. But for your other like furniture equipment, you may have to like put it up against a wall or, you know, something that's firm. Safety first, especially if you are pregnant. So let's get into it. To set yourself up, you want the edge that you're gonna use for your hip thrust to be at your sticky outie bones in your back and shoulders, your shoulder blade your shoulder blade bones, right at that level. So you don't wanna be like far down in your back. You want your shoulder blades to be about in the same plane as that edge you're leaning up against. From there, it's a very similar bridge position. Your feet are gonna be just a little bit probably further out than a bridge. I teach a very like perpendicular bridge setup, but with a hip thrust, you want to be perpendicular when your hips come up. So a lot of times you have to have your feet just a little bit further out. You don't want them too far out because when you come up, you're not gonna be straight, and that is just not a good position on the back or getting optimal hip activation. This is all about the booty. So from here, and there's a few ways to do this. You'll kind of see the way that I perform mine, and I feel that it is best. A lot of people teach with a chin tuck and keeping this chin tuck the whole time. I actually move my whole body in alignment, so my ears, shoulders, and hips stay in the same line. So like my head actually kind of goes back a little bit. But you want to make sure that you're not just letting your head throw back, because that part of the posture is very important. So if you want to tuck, you can tuck, but we want at least neutral there. So to come up into the hip thrust, it's similar to the bridge, but you're just propped up on something. So from here, you're going to lift hips up. You want to see that nice even position, and then come back down. As you come up, you should feel glutes activating. In the same way that I teach bridges, a lot of times what we see with bridges is people leaning with letting their ribs flare up, letting their like belly button almost thrust towards the ceiling. You want to lift the hips up. You don't want to overarch. That's too much. You want a neutral position here. Your knees, your hips, and your shoulders make that nice line right there. So that's a hip thrust, and there's variations. You can just come up. You can come up and you can hold. When you come up, that's when I like the exhale to help you with that core activation if you're still working on getting a good co-contraction there. This is also the best modification for pregnancy if you are unable to lay on your back and bridge. Laying on your back to do exercises when you're pregnant is fine. However, if it's uncomfortable, you can't breathe well, it just doesn't work for you, which is the case in later pregnancy, the hip thrust is the way to go. So just make sure you're getting on and off, that you are safe and secure. That's a hip thrust.